recently got my hands on a Pocket 4 and I wanted to compare it to the Pocket 3 to see just how big the upgrade actually is. And surprisingly, the upgrade, at least in the image quality, is nowhere near as big as I thought it was. But the biggest upgrades come more in other areas. We'll talk about that. But first, how did I get a Pocket 4? Because DJI definitely didn't send me either of these. In fact, I purchased both of them. Well, as it happens, I was driving through Canada for a week, driving my vehicle from Washington State back to Alaska, and so I decided what a great time to test and compare the Pocket 4 to the Pocket 3 because I could actually buy one in Canada. Now, DJI claims that the new and improved dynamic range of the Pocket 4 is considerably better than the Pocket 3, and while, yes, that's true in some ways, it's not as big a difference as I thought. The image quality is very, very similar. The biggest difference comes in the fact that now you have access to full D-Log, so it's a much more flat color profile and gives you a lot more leeway and a lot more range to be able to color grade it. But how much of a difference? It's not as big as I thought because you can match up the D-Log M of the Pocket 3 to the D-Log of the Pocket 4, even though you're supposed to be getting this max dynamic range. You can make them look very, very similar if you work with the footage enough in post. And I didn't see a huge quality improvement in the detail or the sharpness or anything like that. The image quality to me on both of these cameras looks very, very, very similar. Although, yes, by default, they seem to, especially if you're filming in the log modes, the Pocket 4 seems to have more dynamic range, but you can fix this by just doing a pretty significant lift in the mid-range, and then you end up looking very similar. In fact, in this shot here in Watson Lake, it looks to me like maybe the Pocket 4 is even blowing the highlights out a little sooner than the Pocket 3 was. I mean, it's pretty subjective, but it's very close. And a lot of these shots I was using the 2x lossless zoom because I wanted to see if there was a big improvement in that because there has been a big change in the photo side. I didn't really see a huge difference in the two. I wouldn't call it lossless. It's definitely usable 4K, but it's not lossless as, you would be led to believe. But you also might be asking, well, what happens if I don't want to film in log mode, and what if I just want to film in normal color mode? Well, I did film in normal color mode, and to me, again, they both look really, really similar. I think the Pocket 4 might have a slight edge in just the way the colors render in normal color profile, and yeah, maybe here's where it has a little bit of an edge in dynamic range, but they're both really similar. Both give great results, both look really good straight out of camera. And, you could use it for a lot of different things. I've been using the Pocket 3 for almost all my YouTube videos for the last 2 or 3 years, ever since it came out, because it's such a great, easy system to use. Now, that's not to say there haven't been any improvements. There definitely have. Some of that's been in low light, which I haven't been able to test because basically we don't get really very much low light right now. But another improvement has been in the slow motion. If you film stuff in slow motion, you now have access up to 4K 240 frames a second versus 4K 120 frames a second in the Pocket 3. So if you do film a lot of slow motion content, then this is actually a pretty big boost. And one more thing you need to be aware of is that the Pocket 3 has an option to film in HLG, where the Pocket 4 no longer has an HLG option. But that brings me to one of the bigger changes that they made in the Pocket 4 compared to the Pocket 3 is the photo quality. You can now take these much larger 37 megapixel stills as opposed to the 9 megapixel stills of the Pocket 3. But again, how much of a difference you're going to see there really highly depends on how you're using it. For me, I've used the Pocket 3 for thumbnails occasionally. The Pocket 4 will do that as well, just as well. And even in the panorama modes or the two different panorama modes, like they, again, still both look really similar, which goes to tell you that DJI did an incredible job with the Pocket 3. That camera is still kicking, it's really strong and doing heavy lifts 3 years running now. One more thing that a lot of the launch day videos said was that there was improved spatial audio or improved audio quality from the built-in mics. So I'm here in Watson Lake and I'm using Active Track right now with these two cameras because it really helps. But this sign forest is super cool. People have come from all over the world to put their license plate, put their town signs, put like custom-made wood signs, just from all over the planet. It's pretty wild. Some of them are road signs, probably taken down, not legally, but they're here, and it's really cool. So yeah, this is a cool place to come and see, because there's a lot to come and see here. Also, I've just been using the built-in microphones on both of these and kind of switching back and forth. This is a really good, there's some ambient noise around and stuff like that. This is a really good opportunity to test it, because the Pocket 4 does have some upgrades in the microphone system. And did you notice much of a difference? But that brings us to some of the most significant improvements in the Pocket 4. I said at the beginning of the video that the biggest improvements of the Pocket 4 were not in the image quality department. Have there been some improvements? Yes. Are they substantial? Not really. I have a feeling that might be coming with the Pocket 4 Pro, just because it has a second camera option. But the biggest improvements of the Pocket 4 over the Pocket 3 have more to do with the usability and how you interact with it as a user. What do I mean by that? Well, you've got two buttons now under the screen, and those make life considerably better. One is programmed to where it will go to the 4x or the 2x lossless zoom immediately, which is super handy if you use that feature a lot, and I do. And then the other you can program to do a few different features. Just makes it really nice to be able to hit one button and have it spin around and face you, or have it hit that button again, or double tap that button and have it spin around and face the front again, rather than having to triple tap the little joystick, because the little joystick now is better, nicer, I guess. It's more rubberized. It feels a little better, but it definitely is different. So having those improvements make a big difference in how you interact with the camera and how you use the camera. Another big feature, which actually I did use a lot on this trip, is now that it has 100-something gigabytes of internal memory. And one of the biggest improvements is the fact that it's now unified how you interact with the camera menu system across all of the cameras. And so if you use the Action 6 or the Action 5, you get basically the same system and the same way you interact with it, which includes gesture control. All right, so this is Active Track, and this is obviously, it's one version better than the Pocket 3, but how much better is it? I will say the gesture control is pretty sweet. Being able to start and stop Active Track this way is pretty nice. Like, that's not bad. I like that. And then you go, and it does a green square around there, and boom, it's active tracking again. Not bad. Sweet. Yeah, so the active track definitely is better. How much better? I don't know. I use the active track on the Pocket 3 sometimes for a little extra help, but not all the time. So, but it is useful, and Active Track 7 or whatever version we're on now is definitely better. And last, at least in one of my experiences, the biggest improvement that they made is that it has a larger battery, which gives you a fairly significantly longer runtime, like a 30-something% more, which in my case equals about maybe almost an hour longer runtime than the original, than the Pocket 3. And then that brings us to the good news and the bad news. The good news is that almost all of your Pocket 3 accessories will work with the Pocket 4 because there haven't been significant physical changes to the camera, and it still works with the DJI Mic 2 Mini, the Mini 2, pretty much, you know, the whole DJI Mic ecosystem that worked with the Pocket 3 also will work with the Pocket 4, which is really nice. The bad news is that we can't get it in the United States because apparently it's a massive threat to national security, or something like that. But let me know what you think in the comments below. Next, you're going to watch this video right here. I'll see you over there. As always, if you have questions, ask me in the comments below, or you can join my live stream, which happens some Wednesday nights at 4 p.m. Alaska time, 8 p.m. Eastern. We can have more of a conversation. I can answer questions that maybe I didn't get to in this video. I'll see you again soon in the next one. Cheers.